Today is Saturday, May 7th, 2022. Welcome to the Survivor Fans Podcast. I'm Joanne.
And I'm Stacy.
And this is the listener feedback show for Survivor 42, Week 9.
We're gathered together today to bear witness to the demise of the great General High. All gather round. Oh, got the sour face. Definite sour face.
That's not
and
sour
zipped.
Face.
It went sour.
I just thought,
It started off zipped and it went to sour.
I'm not saying anything.
Your USB still in the game. No need for you to say anything.
I said nothing.
Mm-hmm. Well, it was an exciting event-filled episode. And how many Survivor fans checked in with us this week?
20.
Got 20 super fans that are eager to talk about how they saw it all go down, what they were able to surmise from those events, and some of them have some predictions for us going forward as to what we might expect next. And just some general assessments. Who's playing the best, who's playing the worst, all that good stuff. Anything we need to cover before we dive in?
I don't believe so.
First caller up, we got Pete.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. This is Pete from Boston calling here. Oh, Stacy, you must be bummed, but my spidey senses were telling me your General High was in trouble, but I'm sad to see him go. I'm not gonna lie. I'm sure you are too. But nevertheless, I'm gonna let out a great big woo! Oh, man, and the way the edit looked, guys, I really thought Omar at the last moment with Lindsay was going to flip the script and then blindside Jonathan when he says, oh, High, because High, everyone wants to vote out High, which means he would be someone that I could work with because I trust him, this and that. But nope, it was not meant to be. Only poor clueless Romeo voted for Jonathan with High. Everyone else said, see you later to the king, to General High. Bye-bye. I think what happened was he got a little bit overconfident there. He should have been the one looking for the idol. We saw those women look for it. Eventually, somehow Marianne found it again. But wow. And I give props to Omar. Everyone now went from everyone coming to High, now everyone's coming to Omar. He's got Jonathan, Marianne, and Lindsay from his original tribe. Now he's working on Mike. He's brainwashing Mike there. Drea, I still feel like, is in the middle. Romeo goes where the wind goes. So clearly we know Omar got Romeo. But wow, guys, we're set for a fantastic finish. We got some of those advantages still in there. So now what did Lindsay say now? I forget, what do you call that advantage? Now it goes to what, a steal a vote now with, what's it with her and Drea or something. So now that High is gone. But man, this should be crazy, guys. Crazy. Lindsay, great. Kudos to Lindsay for winning 2 challenges, especially the immunity challenge. That was big, and outdoing Jonathan. That's great. Now, guys, I'll be honest. I don't know who's going to win, but if I were to pick, I think Omar's got the best chance right now. Then maybe Mike, because High went out very gracefully. I think maybe Mike is up there. Drea has a chance to win. She'd be my number 3. I still don't know about Jonathan because, yes, he's a beast in challenges, but has done nothing good strategically. Lindsay's a wild card. She's building up her resume. And Romeo, you would agree, Stacy, go rodeo with the 0 vote. Just carry Romeo to the end. We're set for a good finish. Let's see how the rest of the advantages go. And let's see how long Marianne keeps her mouth shut about her idol. I have a feeling Omar's going to figure that out. This was awesome. Sorry, Stacy, about your USB. Let's see if there are any extra clips, because, again, I know there's no Ponderosa. Great episode, though. Take care. Whoa.
Whoa. Thanks, Pete. Yes, I think Romeo is destined to the goat rodeo. If they're going to take a goat, it will be Romeo. He has no agency, no claim to anything in the game up until this point. Things can always change, but at this point, he is dead goat walking.
Yeah, I think he's burned a lot of bridges too.
Yeah, High said in his interviews, he kind of had a script, I think, because he was hitting the same points with several different groups that he talked with. But he said after he had that really touching moment with Romeo where they were talking about him coming out and what that meant and the challenges that he had shared with Romeo, that they were planning on taking out Chanel. And Romeo promptly went and told Tori, and Tori told Chanel, and Chanel came back to High and said, I hear you're saying they should vote me out. And High said, well, we were done at that point. They were just...
Can't work with him.
Yeah, can't trust him. And he said he was so paranoid that it sort of forced him to the bottom. He wasn't on the bottom because he was paranoid, but he ended up there because he was paranoid somehow. And High is gone. But yeah, I think a lot of people took it that way. I saw a lot of people commenting online about how well he managed his exit, because he was
beautifully
and truly blindsided, and he owned it the whole way. Still owning it in the interviews, which is a good sign.
What did he say at the end of the episode? He felt honored that they had
Yes.
that got him that way.
Yeah. He's a crack up. All right. Thanks, Pete. Next up, we got a call from Robert.
Hey, Joanne, Stacey, and Survivor fans. This is Robert from Canada calling in with my listener feedback. What a great episode. How refreshing was that to finally see a regular immunity idol be found? I would have rathered it go to my USB Drea, but I was happy to see it nonetheless. Omar's game's been really interesting to watch these last few episodes, and it's almost taken a bit of a villainous turn. I couldn't believe when he lied to Mike about High. He's a bit more conniving than I thought. I think overall that is good for his game, unless he gets caught, so we'll see what happens. His last couple episodes served as Omar's coming out parties, and I have to say that this one was Lindsay's. She performed really well in the challenges, and she also showed a great social game. I think physically she's a threat to continue to win some of these individual challenges, and I can see her winning her way into the finale. At Tribal Council, Lindsay and others did an amazing job of putting on a good old-fashioned blindside against High. They did a really good job of making him comfortable and thinking that all the votes were going to go against Jonathan. And I'm guessing that Jonathan knew Lindsay was going to make that remark about the equal opportunity going forward in the game, so everyone put on a good act. It kind of makes me wonder if the conversation in the shelter that you guys mentioned, was that just a ruse to make High feel comfortable, or was Lindsay being genuine about wanting to sort of get Jonathan out? Because they've been pretty tight so far in the game, so it just makes me wonder, especially with Jonathan being so close, it seemed like it had to have been a farce. In the JSFL this week, I had High as my vote off as a carryover sort of from last week, but I changed it closer to the episode. I wish I was making this up, but when I get competitive, I tend to be an overthinker. At least I didn't lose any save points. Currently, my final five is Drea, Lindsay, Marianne, Omar, and Romeo. I think Mike's going to lose his idol and get voted out soon, and Jonathan's days are numbered. One of those two will probably be my vote off next week, and I'm not sure which. I think Drea's going to wait as long as she can before she takes Mike's idol. I have two questions for you guys about Marianne's idol. Do you think she'll be able to keep it to herself, and do you think she'll play it correctly? Well, anyway, that's it for me, and I look forward to hearing from all the other fans. Take care.
Thanks, Robert.
I think she could play it correctly, but I don't know about keeping it to herself.
That just seems so unlikely. It'll actually be a victory if she does. That's how low the bar is. This will be exemplary gameplay on her part if she doesn't share with anyone that she found an idol.
Okay, Robert, talking about JSFL and how competitive he is, made me think, because I know you and I are with certain things, and I wonder if Survivor fans in general, because they love this competitive show, it's all about competition, I wonder if that's what part of the draw, that Survivor fans are competitive, and
therefore
why
they're drawn
they feel
to Survivor.
that way so much. Why JSFL affects us so much with watching the show. If you got points on the line, you know.
Oh. Well, I think that's like anything else, or fantasy leagues for lots of sports games, which are, like to your point, are competitive, and then you are more invested you've got a stake in it. So
but
therefore,
I do think Survivor fans are more naturally competitive.
Could be. Absolutely could be.
And that's part of what makes them a fan.
So we're down to 7 and 7-6-5. She's only got 3 more opportunities to play the idol, right, Marianne?
Oh, yeah.
So it's very limited. And likewise with what is it that goes out at 6? It's the amulet advantage, right?
Uh-huh. Drea and Lindsay have to use that. This is their
7 or 6, yeah.
Yeah.
So they've only got 2 more opportunities to do that.
Yep. But Marianne could take the idol into the, the first tribal council during the finale episode.
Mm-hmm. I think maybe the extra vote goes that far too, to 5. We'll have to double check that.
Yeah, I don't remember that specifically. So, all right. Up next, we have an email from Erin from Canada.
Hi, Joanne and Stacy. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups was my Survivor snack with tea tonight, so that helped make it a great episode. All right, I like that. Although tea and peanut butter cups, that's an interesting combination. I always enjoy reward challenges. It was evident Lindsay has watched Survivor before because she flat out asked Jeff if she could take another person and chose Mike. Yeah, that was nice. I think they would make a nice final 3. I didn't enjoy watching people freeze, though. Poor Marianne and Romeo were shaking like a leaf. There's an extra video. Well, there's 2 extra videos about tree mail where you can see more shaking. And then there's an extra clip that you can see if you go to the EW interview with Hi. They usually have an extra clip at the top of that. And that one's about Marianne's breakdown due to the rain and the cold. So you can get a little more of that, too, if you were so inclined. Although, I get it. You said you don't enjoy it, so I'll understand if you don't watch. Just making sure you're aware of it. Omer, my fellow Canadian, is playing a good game, but I hope the string of lies doesn't entangle his game in the future. Marianne found an idol, good for her. She may actually make it pretty far in the game, even though I doubt she could win. Romeo seems like another that is slipping under the radar because he is not a serious threat to win. Lindsay came alive in this episode. She was the player of the week in my mind. She came from the background to the front of the game. However, Omer was the real MVP because he is still in the background calling the shots. He was the one who planted the seed about getting Hi out, and it came to fruition. Hi gave Jeff the analogy he was looking for about running a race. I'm sorry to see your USB out of the game, Stacy, but it was a really great blindside that even Hi could appreciate, definitely. I had to laugh when Jonathan did the monkey imitation. I feel like the editors had fun with that clip when they decided to keep that in the edit. I remember him picking lice or something out of Lindsay's hair in the beginning of the season. This monkey thing is making a lot of sense. Just don't give him a handful of bananas as a reward. Yeah, we'll have to put those 2 together. That'd be perfect, wouldn't it? Next time on Survivor, I wonder if they will regret not taking Jonathan out when they had the chance. Maybe they will keep him because they don't find him strategic enough. It seems as though Mike is the bigger threat. It should be interesting. Now that Hi is gone, I believe Drea and Omer have what it takes to win the game. Happy Mother's Day. Thanks, Erin. Next up, we got a call from Mike.
Hey, Survivor World. This is Mike from Cromwell, Connecticut, calling for the first time this year. Just want to say hi to everybody. I have been listening, but not as much as last season. I've been really busy with work. But I just want to say how much this season has been great. I really enjoy it. What an episode last night. I mean, Omer is just the Godfather. I mean, you think that Marlon Brando played the Godfather. I'm thinking Omer played the Godfather, for God's sakes. He is really the puppet master so far this season. And I really thought Hi was going to be the puppet master, but a couple questionable vote outs the last 3 weeks really shifted, and Omer's just been really killing it. One thing I like too is the Lindsay and Jonathan dynamic. Where's that going to go? They've been voting together every single week, and that's going to be a tough person for her to possibly vote off. Losing an ally, losing a sure vote every time you guys go to tribal, you guys are voting together. That's powerful. But it's going to come down to how much her ties with Omer, Drea, and Mike weigh her option to possibly vote Jonathan out. Do you keep him? He is such a strong threat. Or do you vote out someone who really believes in you? I don't know. But I'm really enjoying the challenges this year. The edits have been great. The storyline is really awesome. The cast is playing too. But One thing to look to is Drea going to stay in the game forever? I mean, she has every advantage under the sun. I think Mike's in trouble. He's got an idol. Lindsay and Drea, I mean, their powers definitely moved on, voting high. That was a great move. We'll see. Marianne finding an idol? Oh, my God. I mean, she's not really a threat, and she could make at least the final 5. She pulls out an idol final 5. She's going further and further, so she's someone not to sleep on. I think she has a dark horse chance to win this thing. I have Omar as my winner pick for JSFL, so hopefully he keeps going. But just want to say hi. This could have been a little choppy. It was my first one of the year. Kind of doing it on the fly, but thanks, guys, and nice chatting again. Take care.
Thanks, Mike. Came out really well. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Rebecca.
Well, I guess I've never been so delighted to see my USB voted out of the game. This is Rebecca from Northern California calling. How did you feel about that, Stacy? Our USB is gone. I don't know why I took that so well. I think it was Ty's reaction at being voted out that he just laughed and thought it was a great gameplay, which I did too. And here's the interesting thing. Going into this week, I really didn't know who to vote for. So with all of my deductive reasoning, I decided to vote for Lindsay, completely based on the fact that I had used too many save points on her. So I decided, why not just throw a vote off towards her and give a save point to Romeo, who I never give save points to. And, of course, she had, the episode of the season. She won immunity. She won the rewards challenge. She was doing so great. And in truth, I really like Lindsay. I don't even know why I thought it would be wise to do her as my vote off. Well, too many save points. So I was loving watching her this whole episode. And then I started to get really worried when they talked about voting off Jonathan, because you know who else I love? I love Jonathan. And I'm watching, and I'm like, you know what? I'd rather they vote off my USB, who I just couldn't throw a vote off point at him. I just couldn't. He's my USB. So thank you, Survivor. You did it for me, and now we can all move on. Great episode. Loving this entire game. Did my feedback exactly. It's Wednesday night at 9:30. I just finished watching. I'm getting it in so I can not have to worry about doing my feedback for the next couple of days. It's going great. I have no idea who to vote for next week. Thank you guys so much for all that you do. I think I'm headed back down towards the basement again because I can't seem to make very good picks right now. Anyway, thank you. I hope you all enjoyed that episode as much as I did, even though they voted off my USB. Bye. Hey, it's Rebecca again. Now it's Thursday morning. I completely forgot to mention Omar. How great is Omar? It is so fun to watch him play and manipulate people and have people not even realize they're being manipulated, like planting that seed with Mike about something I never even said. And he's just smiling, and he's so sweet. And everybody is eating up every word he says. I love watching him play. And then, right before tribal council, he almost turned the entire vote around. just by dropping little seeds. Or wait, I think he did turn the entire vote around. I can't remember. I'll have to go back and watch. But I love watching Omar, and he's not malicious about anything. He's just playing the game. And he's doing it all with a smile, and he's sweet and nice to everyone. I would love to see him win. He's stellar in my book. Okay, that's all. Have a good day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Rebecca. Yeah, you surprised us with getting your feedback in so early on Wednesday.
Yeah, we had 3 people.
Yeah, before we got the recap together, right?
We haven't even done the recap yet.
Yeah. Worked out great. You said, how did I feel about losing height? Well, I think in a move that High would appreciate, I got full points this last week because I had High as my vote out.
You did.
Yes.
You struggled a little, but you did.
I think he would understand and appreciate that very much, that I was able to capitalize on his problem for sure. Next up, we got an email from Nicky in Florida.
I had a gut feeling it was going to be High, but High was my USB, and I just couldn't do it. I kept going back to Jonathan and High, back and forth. I went with Jonathan.
The struggle is real.
Ugh. High was the right choice. It just stung a bit. Omar is playing a great game. Planting those seeds is working. Marianne is also playing well, finding an idol. Well done. But wow, can she ramble on and on and on? I'm really enjoying this season. There is no one I dislike. I'm enjoying watching how the social dynamics come into play. It's always changing. What are the alliances? I don't know who's with who since that changes weekly. As for next week, no idea. Maybe Mike? Thanks for the podcast, and I'll look forward to hearing what everyone else thinks. Hopefully it will help me pick. Have a wonderful day. All right, thanks, Nikki. Up next...
Hold on. What are the alliances?
Oh.
Nikki asked.
I don't know.
Well, in one of the sneak peek clips, we see Drea, Jonathan, Lindsay, Mike, and Omer all out at the beach. And they're saying...
Final five,
to the end.
Fight it out till then.
Well, that's what Mike's saying.
Yes, but in the next on, we see them out there, all five of them, and then the next thing we know, this one says Drea, the other one says Jonathan, and then we may have to get Mike. So that means nothing.
And Omer's got a connection to Romeo and Marianne, and now Mike, and also Lindsay.
And Drea.
And Jonathan.
So everyone.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, it is challenging,
and
Nikki.
yet he'll vote them out in a heartbeat.
Yes.
So I don't know that there are any unbreakable alliances.
No, everybody
None.
seems open. The doors are open.
Exactly.
Mike will say it's not, but then someone will trick him, and then
that's
it is.
Exactly what Hi said during the episode when Lindsay brought up Jonathan. He's like, I'm open. So I think everyone's open. I don't think there's any solid alliance. That I think Mike started out wanting to do that, but we already have seen that no, he can vote them out.
We're in the deep waters of as long as it's not me, I'm open.
That's right.
Next up, we got a call from Boother.
Hello, Joanne and Stacy, and all you Survivor fans. This is Boother calling in. Lindsay just missed finding a hidden immunity idol. After she passed it by, the camera goes back to show us how it was not visible and it was laying flat like a tortilla in the groove of the tree. Then after Lindsay leaves, Marianne comes through and the idol is propped up for her to see from 10 feet away. It appears to me, anyway, that the producers changed how the idol was hidden. What do you think? The reward that Lindsay won was a feast for their stomachs as well as their soul. Having a video visit with family members was very special. I felt sorry for the players who did not get the family video visit. In past seasons, even the losing team on the reward challenge at least got a hug and to see their loved ones, even though it was a brief moment. Finally, on the immunity challenge, the balance beam was the same for all players, giving the smaller players a real advantage. And Lindsay was the smallest player. And Jonathan, with his huge feet, obviously was at a disadvantage. Now on challenges where the height is an issue, they adjust for that and try to equalize everybody. So I wish they had done that on this challenge as well. Next week, it looks like a real doozy with Jonathan, Mike, and Drea all in the crosshairs. My prediction is that Drea will take his idol and Mike will go home. I really like how Mike's been playing. And Omer too. Omer is just so good. And I think they should play the music from Shan from season 41. Every time he grins at the camera after talking with one of the other survivors. Well, that's it for me. Looking forward to hearing what everybody else has to say.
Yeah, thanks, Boother.
He does know how to play to the camera.
Yep, absolutely. We went back and looked at that segment because that was a good point. The sequence where first Lindsay misses the hidden immunity idol and then Marianne finds it.
We noticed, though, that Lindsay wasn't looking up there. She was
didn't look where she
to
reached.
the right. I don't know what she was looking
Well, I think
at.
she was looking to make sure no one was coming.
Oh, she just stuck her hand up there. But it was just on the bark of the.
It looked like she hit a leaf and actually knocked the leaf onto the
her finger
the hidden
knocked
immunity
the
item.
leaf, moved the leaf that was on top of the clue. Mm-hmm. And
so we looked at where it was located, how it was wedged in. We did this a lot, back and forth, because we couldn't agree between us either. And
we eventually did.
There is a sequence where, just like Boother says, you can see it and it's propped up to make it more visible. But when Marianne comes through, it's not in that orientation. It's back down in the wedge again.
They got up close to it and from a different angle somehow, from behind, it almost looked like.
No, it wasn't behind because the fork was still on the left.
That.
Yeah, they propped it up so you could see it clear.
When we slow-moed it, watching her
Marianne get it,
it was still
wedged in the fork.
Wedged, and that little leaf was on the top.
Yeah.
So I don't think they changed it for
I totally see how you could have confused that. Because, when they highlighted
it was confusing.
Yeah, well, it is visually confusing. The editors did us a disservice with that sequence, I think. It's one thing to flash it, to artificially highlight it, to say, here's where it is. It's another to change the orientation and film it in under different lighting conditions.
That was, I guess they thought we might have missed it. But.
Yeah, so in addition to the highlight, they showed it in some kind of out-of-sequence thing. I wouldn't be surprised if they even went back and did that afterwards, because sometimes they refilm things to try to make them clearer, and that's how they could have made a continuity mistake like that. Thanks, Boother. Next up, we got a call from Noelle.
Hi, everyone. It's Noelle calling from Albuquerque with my feedback. I am loving the season. It's so great. I love the cast. They're all so good at the game. It's really fun to watch. This episode was a great one for the ladies because Lindsay won twice in a row and Marianne found that idol. That was really exciting and fun to watch. I was kind of missing Tori during the immunity challenge because I felt like that one would have been hers. And I'm actually sad to see Hai go. I thought, had a great arc in the last couple of episodes, and I'll miss him on the show for sure. Is Do or Die happening next week? Because I have no idea who to pick. I have no idea who to pick for my vote out. It's not like I've gotten a vote out point at all this season, but I'm really at a loss for next week. But I kind of hope it is Do or Die, even though I don't love Do or Die. So I guess I think it would be ideal if they dropped it next season, but I'm excited to see it next time if that's what's happening. Is Omer the best Survivor player of all time? He might be. I'm getting ready to make that prediction. Everybody have a great weekend. Bye.
It is tracking that way, isn't it? Omer's looking like a superstar. Like we could be in the midst of a season with two new iconic characters.
Maybe.
With Omer and Jonathan in terms of their impact on the game. We'll see if he's able to hold it together through these last few, but he's tracking pretty well. Next up, we got an email from Shahin in Australia. Hi, Joanne and Stacy. What an episode. This is what I've been looking for. Moves, moves, and more moves. My condolences, Stacy. General Hai unfortunately forged the sword he fell on over the course of 2 episodes, and I feel like it was a savvy move. The magnitude of the vote out was very reminiscent of Shan from the previous season. A few notes. My partner highlighted how emaciated Romeo looks. I was genuinely concerned. He looks bone thin, and the way he shivered, it just highlights the threshold the contestants have to break through to survive. I don't think he has to worry much longer. The vote-offs tell a story, and him being out of the loop so late into the game tells me he's primed for the GOAT role. I haven't looked back again, but I agree with Joanne. That looked like a curtailed challenge, possibly the shortest I've seen in Survivor. Talking about the reward challenge.
I'm aware.
There was... I forgot to share that with you. I think I saw it on Facebook. There was for that challenge, there was a challenge behind the scenes video where they're talking about how they had mapped it out. So it was exactly as how they had intended and engineered it. So even though it was somewhat short in that respect, that was how it was exactly designed. Because
I saw the video.
Oh, okay. The thing they were highlighting was how they do it to exact dimensions so that they can get the camera angles correct, and they actually even in the planning diagram have the camera people at certain points so that they can make sure they're far enough away to get the shot, that the angles work, that their lenses are the right ones, and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, very detailed.
Yep.
That doesn't mean that the challenge wasn't initially going to be more. I don't think that proves that it wasn't. It's just that could have been their adaptation.
Okay, yeah, sure. That's fair. The immunity challenge is a fun one. I wouldn't mind doing a deep dive on the physics and finding the best stability point on the apparatus. I am a postdoc researcher in structural engineering. Oh, cool. My quick take is using the edge technique as Lindsay deployed for stability. You want to ensure you have as least amount of curvature either side of the ball. It seems towards the end of the roller apparatus, the curve flattens, so it means you have only one steep edge to maintain stability as opposed to balancing in the middle.
That's what Mary Ann was doing to start with.
Question on how they scale challenge equipment. Should they have scaled the beam widths? Yeah, I think it was Boother talking about that too. The beam widths as a ratio of foot width, or am I losing my marbles? It seems they do it for height-based challenges, so why not for this? Jonathan could barely stand. He seemed to be cheating a little bit with his feet in different areas over the borders, trying to compensate. I wonder if they gave him that as an extra, but I agree. It looked like the width was the same for everyone.
But you saw afterwards, we saw him doing that, but then you saw afterwards he had put that foot flat on the board.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I think that was when he was kind of going over the previous edge.
Yeah.
But yeah, there is something a little sus about that it's not scaled appropriately to people by foot size at least. Lindsay had an advantage, but on the flip side, look how far Jonathan got. Mm-hmm. Looks like my boy Omer's running the show a little too well, so I'm expecting anything but run-of-the-mill for next episode's vote-off. I went Jonathan, and unfortunately it sent me plummeting further down. I was 241st last year, and I'm doing myself a disservice in 242nd at this moment. Hopefully I can get enough momentum to creep up a single spot. Well, good luck on your recovery. Thanks, Shahin.
We hope you do as well as Jonathan did in his.
Oh.
Because he was awesome in recovery.
Yeah, but he didn't get the point in the end.
Well, he didn't.
I think you're shorting Shahin.
I'm not doing anything.
Okay.
Because I'm not in control of that. But
sure.
My point being, trying to give Jonathan credit for how long. Usually when the ball starts moving to that degree, they lose it. That's it. They overcompensate and it's over. And he just kept on and on. That was amazing.
Yeah, we've never seen someone manage the activity that long, that well.
Not at all.
Thanks, Shahin. Next up, we got a call from Drew.
Hey, everyone. This is Drew calling from Utah. First of all, before I talk about this episode, I kind of want to say thank you to everyone for the feedback last week. Actually, was really helpful. I didn't agree with everything everyone said. I agreed with some things some people said. I met some people in the middle, but I listened and I received all of those thoughts and perspectives, so that was actually kind of helpful. It's funny how this episode seemed to kind of not address that issue at all, but I guess maybe it just didn't come up. But I will say also about the feedback, I was just driving in my car listening, and I, laughed out loud at Josh the Plush Moose talking about God sending Tori home because he had Jonathan safe in JSFL. I was like dying laughing. That was, oh my gosh, really funny. So thank you for the laugh. And yeah, so like I said, for all the thoughts. But this week was okay. I got a point on high, so that was great. A vote out point. You know, I've never been super into high. I think he's pretty into himself, so he doesn't need me to be into him, if you know what I mean. But I don't know, it just seemed like he was there to kind of show off and, yeah, show how smart he was. The metaphors were constantly coming out, and they were just not working. The blindfolded marathon, what? No, dude, that doesn't. So, I don't know. If he was genuinely, happy that that's the way he went out, he seemed like he was a pretty good sport about it. I don't know if it was just kind of complete shock and that's how he responded. But, okay, can anyone explain to me, because it seemed to me at a certain point he has a birthmark on one of his cheeks, and then it showed the picture when he was a kid and it wasn't there, and then it showed him again at tribal council, it wasn't there, and I was like, oh, did they reapply his concealer or something? But I don't know, maybe it was just a smudge, but I feel like I've seen it in recent episodes, not just today, so it doesn't really matter. It's just something that came to my mind. But yeah, good episode. I was dying for Jonathan to win that challenge, that with the ball and the bow. That was just so intense. Like you were saying, it was constantly moving. He's constantly correcting and constantly saving. It was just awesome. And yeah, I don't think he's he's also starting to get sort of this narcissist edit, but also he wasn't featured very much this week. And so I was pretty sure he'd be safe. So I wasn't super angsty or anxious at Tribal Council. Some scattered thoughts, but I still dig Jonathan, still rooting for Drea. Yeah, I kind of miss Tori. I don't know. She got a lot of hate, but I thought she was great. And yeah, at least we have her on the jury. All right, everyone, have a good weekend. Talk to you later. Bye.
Thanks, Drew. Good job, bud.
I don't think he had that on his face initially.
No,
I remember thinking he got injured.
Yeah, he injured it in the pseudo merge with the big ball that they had to push. He scratched his face in that.
Yeah.
So that's what's going on.
It just
healed up. Yeah, he talked about it in one of his interviews. Thanks, Drew. Next up, we got a call from David.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy. It's David in Pittsburgh. Well, like Mike on his reward outing when he had a confessional about his family and almost lost it. I hope I can make it through this without breaking down. Hi was my USB, and I really was sad in seeing him go. I thought he was playing an excellent game, and even if he hadn't been my USB, I really thought he was doing a great job. I think part of the problem was that he was not really listening to Mike whenever they'd get together, and he would be telling Mike what the best strategy would be. And so when Omar lied to Mike, there must have been some truth to that, at least in Mike's perception, because why would Mike go to Hai, tell him what he heard, and see what Hai had to say? So Mike, yes, you're not Hai's puppet, you're Omar's puppet now. When they showed that brief segment of Hai's childhood growing up and how poor he was and what he had to overcome, I thought, this looks like the farewell montage to me. And that's when I started to get depressed. And Lindsay, what were you thinking? You tell Omar not only that you have the amulet, but what it means for every single stage of it. I think that's going to cost her the game. And do I think Omar's going to win the game? I don't. I don't know if they're going to find out about what he's doing or not, but I just don't think he's going to make it, because if he's in the end and there are people on the jury and they find out that he lied to them the way he did, I don't know. I don't think they're going to go with him. I also want to add something about the double tribal council eliminations. When I went online, the comments were about the diversity on Survivor and the issue of race were really so negative, and I was really taken aback by it. So when I came to your podcast a couple of days later and listened to the listener feedback, it was good to hear each other's comments because they were given in such a respectful manner. So do we all agree? No, but I thought everything was said in a thoughtful way, and I credit the two of you for providing a place where we feel comfortable that we can call in and speak our minds and listen to each other. And so I really appreciate it, and thank you. And now I'll go cry about Hi. Talk to you next week. Bye.
Thanks, David. We appreciate that. We certainly got our zinger about how we're a bunch of racists, and some of the responses back to us. So thank you for that.
Not everyone feels the way you do, but that's fine because it's their opinion and they're entitled to it.
Yep. Yeah. And Hai said that he was very disappointed in Mike because that wasn't a good lie that Omar told. And he so didn't understand why Mike didn't at least double check it with him and took it hook, line, and sinker.
And I could almost guarantee that if Mike goes out before Omar and Omar makes it to the final three,
he's going to come hunting for a head.
that Omar will not get Mike's vote.
Yes.
Once he and Hai work it out and he's like, it convinces Mike, I never said that. That is a lie.
Yeah. I said it's something that's so uncharacteristic for me to say. Now, maybe there's something else about Hai, like some people have talked about. I think Drew was talking about it. The Hai can come off a little pompous sometimes.
Mm-hmm, that's true.
So maybe that's why Mike found it so believable. So on one hand, it was a good enough lie to convince Mike, but Hai was saying, that wasn't a good lie if you had at least just checked it.
You know what I think it was? Why he believed it so completely and so easily is because he was already mad at Hai.
Oh, because of Roxroy.
Because of Roxroy.
Yes.
He was already upset with him about that and felt manipulated by him.
Omer's timing that it was a good lie. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, it was, I think it was both, actually. And it just was
enough.
The perfect timing to do it because, like I said, he was already upset about it.
Yeah, definitely. Thanks, David. Next up, we got a call from Kim.
Hey everybody, this is Kim from North Carolina with a few comments about the episode. I enjoyed the episode. I put Jonathan to go. I think Omer, starting out, was still looking like a mastermind. At the reward challenge, I was surprised when Jeff said Lindsay won from out of nowhere because she was right behind Jonathan the whole time, it looked like to me. And I thought this is the dangerous place where choosing someone to go with you can blow up your game. I wrote a note on my paper that said, I choose non-reward people, which that's what Lindsay did. I thought she really handled that well. I think Lindsay, Omer, and Mike would be a worthy final three. It would be kind of tough to choose between them. I could really relate to what Hai said about this misery is temporary. That's pretty much how I get through hard things myself. Bouncing around, I loved how they did the family audio video. That was really neat. And it was a good solution to either COVID travel restrictions or perhaps budgetary concerns. It was also the perfect amount of teary, happy, emotional level for me. Again, on the balancing, the core strength of the people who are able to almost lose control and then get back in balance is quite impressive. Who's doing well? I think Lindsay is doing really well. I think Omer's doing well, but I wonder if his making stuff up and talking to everybody will eventually come back to bite him when they all figure it out, or if he's in the final, if the jury kind of dings him for that. I think that Jonathan is not playing the great. Obviously, he's a challenge beast, but I don't think he's really even doing good jury management. I don't see how he can win it. I have no idea who's next to go. I think probably Jonathan, but I'm never good at learning things from the videos like y'all are. I guess I'm just not that analytical when it comes to watching Survivor. It's possible Romeo could go because he definitely seems out of the loop, but we kind of get this hint that he's going to make some big move. So we'll see. The last thing is, I thought at Tribal Council, everyone did a really good job of giving non-answers to Jeff's questions. I wonder how long he kept asking the questions, and then those were the best, most challenging answers that he could put together for the show. That's it, everybody. Can't wait to hear what you have to say. Thanks, Joanne and Stacy. Take care. Bye.
Thanks, Kim.
Kim brought up the family video. I wondered, they didn't show us a thing about when they came back. Did they tell the other people, or did they keep that quiet because they thought the others might be more mad at them?
Yeah, it might trigger some
or at least Lindsay, because she didn't pick. Yeah. And so we don't know because they didn't show us.
That's true. We don't. Thanks again, Kim. Next up, we got an email from Rashmi in Perth, Australia.
Dear Joanne and Stacy, all my Survivor friends, I have been lucky the last 2 episodes to guess the correct vote-off person. I think Nina and Jeremiah have been very helpful. Hai said bye, and what a wonderful exit it was. So far, I think my USB Omar is getting a great winner's edit. He's playing a great strategic game, but his lack of idols, hidden advantages, and not winning challenges will be his undoing when he will be dealing with these events. My worry is that he will be serried out. We've seen it a lot. The best player doesn't win because they had no answer for the Probst surprises. Apart from outwit, outplay, and outlast, there is the extra twist that makes it so frustrating. However, as my husband says, no match is over until the last ball is bowled. A great philosophy whilst watching cricket, Survivor, or even in life. So I'm cheering on the best player to win this season. Cheers. All right, thanks, Rajmi. Up next, we have a call from Cameron.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and Survivor fans. This is Cameron from North Carolina. I do apologize for just being so absent this season. It's already week 9. I've only gotten 2 recordings in, but thankfully my semester is finally over. Just got one more part-time to do in the fall. Nothing much else going on, so I should be able to hit all these last recordings for sure. I've been keeping up and enjoying the podcast as always. Joanne and Stacy, you guys are amazing. But anyway, to start talking about this week's episode, Omar was kind of surprising to me this week how much he kept flip-flopping, and all of a sudden he was feeling so good because, they all saw Hai as the one driving the bus, and then all of a sudden Omar, he is getting good reception on, we could take out Jonathan if I wanted to, or we could take out Hai if I wanted to. I hope he doesn't let that get to his head too hard because, Final Tribal Council, people might just get a little bit irritated with him if he plays a big role consistently, if he makes it all that way. The immunity challenge I thought was just unfair for Jonathan. I felt bad when he just couldn't even stand on it. It is what it is. He was able to balance for a little bit, so you can't say it was completely rigged, but good for Lindsay on getting that win. It was very good. One thing I'm liking this season is how week after week, you're getting a good edit this season on seeing everyone and hearing strategy from everyone, and you'll have different stars, so to speak, each week. For example, like last week we saw a lot of Drea and a lot of Marianne, whereas this week they were kind of not really in it at all. Whereas you saw a lot of Lindsay and a lot of Omar, and you haven't really heard a lot from Lindsay all season long. But after this week, I like Lindsay maybe to even win the whole thing. She's proving herself quite well to me to be very mentally strong and knowing what Jonathan means to her and what she means to Jonathan. And she's playing it very smart, clearly, despite not seeing her a ton this season. But anyway, it's way better than seasons past where, take Edge of Extinction, You saw so much of people like Ron Clark or War Dog who made it kind of far, but not all the way. Whereas people like Victoria and Gavin, who made the final episode, you barely saw them on screen at all that season. So hopefully the days of the purple edit are gone, and this is a good new era. One thing I do like about this season compared to others is how in a lot of seasons past, especially earlier ones, and I'd say throughout the 20s seasons, some people would get voted out, and it would just be such an uncomfortable moment to watch based on how salty they were, couldn't even look at people in the eye, had to make a really mean remark to one person. Think about when Boston Rob got voted out on Heroes versus Villains, and he just talked down to Coach, even though Coach is a very sweet guy, in my opinion. Yeah, Hai left, and when Roxroy left, and even when Tori left, it could have been a lot worse, and they were all very understanding of, this is a game, and they don't want to hold any personal grudges, as opposed to seasons past, where even in the final review episode, you'll have people sitting on the jury, and they'll still just be like, I can't believe I got taken out, so unfair. Anyway, Joanne and Stacy, Survivor fans, thank you guys so much. I look forward to these last couple of episodes. Good luck to everyone in JSFL, and I will see you all next week.
Thanks, Cameron. I agree on the purple edit. It's much more balanced. So they've definitely taken the purple out this season. I hope it's in response to the serious comments that everyone shared at the end of last season that turned very purple. It was a purple winter for sure, and that upset and confused many, many people. So I'm hoping they have found some balance from the previous purple edit years and then the mess they made of season 41 in that regard. Next up, we got a call from Justin.
Hey, Joanne and Stacy and all the super fans. This is Justin from Michigan. I just finished listening to Hai's interview with Rob Sesternino, and he brought up an interesting thing that we didn't get to see really on the show, that him, Drea, and Omer had a Final 3 alliance, and it just got me to thinking, man, that would have been a great Final 3. So I guess this week, my question to you guys, out of those 3, with the information we have so far, who do you think would take it if it was Drea, Omer, and Hai? Because I think that would be one of the ideal Final 3s of the season. And just trying to picture who would be in the jury, I think it'd be close. I don't think there'd be a 0-vote finalist in that case. So I'm just wondering who you think would have won if that hypothetical scenario would have played out. Have a good week.
Thanks, Justin.
Well, I have to say Drea, since she's my USB.
Okay. Well, I'll follow it with
with a realistic answer.
Yeah, with a little more unbiased answer at this point, since mine's out. He would be in according to that combination, but I think Omer beats them both hands down. because his story is, I had nothing, and I did this. I made this. So
the only thing that could possibly hurt him in that scenario is that if a lot of people feel hurt by him.
Sure.
Because sometimes they don't vote for people just because they still feel so hurt. I
think that he could smooth that over. I think Omar could 100% smooth that off.
I think he probably could too.
Yeah, I think he's demonstrated that. Now, you get someone like Mike, and he would just be like, well, I can never trust him. I'll never trust him. And sure, Mike's going to vote for Drea since he didn't feel like he could trust Hai, even though Hai would be explaining to him that I didn't lie to you and tell him, Omar, as Omar's sitting right beside Hai in this scenario. And I think Omar would own it at that point. So I think Omar takes it. You're thinking Drea does. So she's certainly got some story.
I don't really know.
I don't think Hai gets it at that point, because I can see that I don't know that I guess they did fear him because they did The Blind Side.
My only thing with Drea is I don't know who likes Drea and who doesn't.
Omar and Hai did.
Maybe.
Lindsay does.
I don't know.
Yeah, they don't show a lot. She doesn't.
They don't show
her
a
social
lot.
game's not being highlighted for sure.
They did.
Enough.
They did show her and Lindsay together and discussing things, and so that was nice to see because we hadn't seen too much of that with her. So, anyway.
Thanks, Justin. Next up, we got a call from Jade-n-Christine.
Hi, Joanne and Stacey. This is Jade.
And Christine.
From Hawaii.
Aloha. Okay, so Jade.
Yes.
The entire time that they were doing the tribal council, in my mind, I was thinking the NSYNC song, Bye Bye Hai. It's one bad lie, baby. Bye Bye Hai. Right? So sad. Yeah. He had some potential, though, but he definitely had a lot of blind spots. And I did hear his exit interview with the lesser Rob.
That's what we call Rob Sesternino.
Yeah,
because he's not as good as Boston Rob, so we call him the lesser Rob.
Yes, and he did say that he felt like he was playing too much with his emotion and not enough with the logic. Yeah, so.
Yeah, I could see his potential. I was so excited. I wish I could see him play for longer, but if he came back, that would be great. But yeah, I'm disappointed, but I guess now I'm going to cheer for Omar.
Yes, Omar. The masterful web weaver, spider in his little web there, just twitching it ever closer to himself, these big fat flies. Yes, it's just crazy. And, I didn't know, Mike has a button, and it's called Puppet, and Omar kept pushing it.
Yes.
And it was very successful. Definitely flipped him.
Yeah. And it is crazy that Lindsay shared her amulet info. She was just like, just have to spill the secret. For some reason, Omar just gets everyone to spill their secrets.
Yeah, he's going to use that later to his advantage, I'm sure. Yeah. Also, we didn't get to call in last week, but it was a great episode, the 2 eliminations. We were surprised that we didn't see any fallout this week with the conversations that were beginning about race. I wonder if maybe there were some conversations that happened, especially between Jonathan and maybe some of the other players that seem to be a little more akamai, a little more
smart. That means
smart. Yeah. And just, that we need to have those conversations, and it's kind of up to us to be better informed.
Yeah, sometimes I feel like we're not listening to each other. So it's I would have liked to see more in that conversation, but that's all right.
So how long do you think before Marianne spills the beans about her?
I agree with Joanna and Stacey. I think she already told someone. I think she told Omar.
Yeah, definitely. But can't wait to see.
Yeah. I actually really liked her Jenga metaphor. I felt like that made sense to me. Like, it's really uncertain, and it's kind of tipsy, and you got to pick the right thing, and one bad move and you could be out. I don't know. I liked it, but Jeff was trying to get Jonathan to say it was nonsense.
Exactly.
But we're excited to see what happens next week.
Bye.
Thanks, Jade-n-Christine. Next up, we got an email from Josh, the Plush Moose from Massachusetts. Dear Joanne and Stacey, this was my kind of episode, full of challenges and strategy, ending with a fun blindside. Here are my other observations. After days of being wet, the tribe left him high and dry. Oh, it's on the stinker scale. It's way up there. If it's true that people and pets grow alike over time, Vet Omer must be spending a lot of time treating snakes and weasels. Lindsay channeled Xander's bench fail when looking for that hidden idol. Indeed. He basically reached for and almost touched it when he was looking, too. Marianne's prayers were answered when she found a bunny-free hidden idol. What's up with challenge weather this season? Are the survivor gods angry? I would say so. Note to Jeff's backyard guest, he thinks obstacle courses and cornhole are fun. Of course Lindsay picked Omer. He looked like a 1970s sad-eyed puppy painting. As Henry Higgins might say, it's plain the rain is driving them insane. I can't do a good Henry Higgins. The Survivor Pizzeria was haunted with CBS cross-promoting Ghost. Oh, and to reference such a horrible show. Oh, my goodness. I face-palmed when Lindsay told Omer and Mike about the amulets. Yes. Was the reward challenge a beware? The winners were forced to eat Survivor pizza. Jonathan spends more time in recovery mode than a failing computer. Videos from home are food for the soul. Is Survivor pizza even food? Once again, Marianne dropped a shizzle sticks on TV. She has a mouth on her. Yeah, what was the other one? I'm loving all these. I'm going to have to go back and collect them. She had another one during the episode when she found the idol. It was Shooketh. So we got Shooketh and shizzle sticks this episode. Who knew that doing monkey runs was a social skill? Will he groom folks next? He's already done that, yeah. Puppet Master Omer pulled the strings when Mike said he wasn't High's puppet. Based on his reaction to Marianne's analogy, I don't think Jonathan plays Jenga. The tribe decided it was high time to vote High out. The editor had to come back to that well and dip in one more time, didn't you? The editors paint Omer as a mad scientist. Will the monster turn on him? It was deliciously ironic that High tried to make the target comfortable to avoid them playing their shot in the dark. He actually...
I guess it comforted him.
Yeah, it comforted High, yeah. It instead of Jonathan. He said in interviews that he had used that successfully before. So, when you've had icicles hanging from you, a cold Fijian rainfall isn't so bad. Lindsay says the entire tribe is sick. Too bad they already ditched the therapist. Nice Tory reference there. High's long-distance blindfolded analogy left out that they're running with scissors. Yeah, there you go. Omer is a vet. He's used to dealing with patients who could bite him. That's good, too. Seeing High joyfully acknowledge being blindsided made me smile. Next time, a potential Final Four and a returning twist. Will either one pay off? Anyway, that's it for me for now. Thanks, Joanna and Stacy, for all you do. I can't wait to hear what the other fans have to say. Stay safe, everybody. Thanks, Josh. Good job. Next up, we got a call from Jeremiah.
Hello, Joanna and Stacy. Hello, Survivor fans. Jeremiah here. And no, not General High. Hate to see him go. Oh, my gosh. What a huge bummer. Well, there goes our 24-point USB, Stacy.
Yep.
Obviously, now I'm regretting not switching to Omer. But, of course, there was no way I was going to give up a 24-point USB. Before I continue with this week, though, I do want to thank you, Stacy, for pointing out on my improper use of the word misogynist to describe Jonathan's actions last week. For me personally, I was just trying to point out the fact that he did come across a little bit, let's say, sexist when it comes to the way he was so dismissive and disrespectful in the way he was handling talking to the women in his tribe. Now, considering this is, of course, a very heavily edited show, and we have a very small sample size, there's no way I actually think that Jonathan is really a misogynist or even a racist for that matter. I think, just like I said, he is a young man who still has a lot of growing to do when it comes to the art of listening and being a little more respectful to people. But I wanted to thank you for pointing that out. Now, going back to this week, I do think it was a pretty solid episode altogether. We saw some amazing gameplay once again by Omer. He really is on top of his game. Unlike High, who was very transparent in how well he was playing, Omar's doing a very good job in making himself not so apparent about what he is doing. other players that I got very excited about here, not only in this episode, but in the last few episodes, it has to be Lindsay and, I can't believe I'm saying this, Marianne. I think Lindsay's game has been a lot more evident, but I do think that Marianne's story and gameplay has been kind of consistent, and I think in the right position, she could actually potentially win as well. So for now, I do think that someone like Omar has got to be your top of your billing when it comes to a potential winner, but I've got Lindsay and Marianne now on that list, along with, of course, Drea. I don't think Mike at this point can win, because I do think people do not take him seriously, just like, of course, Romeo at this point as well. And they're not going to let Jonathan make it that far. Now, as far as what's going to happen next week, well, clearly there's a good chance that someone could be going home with that do or die twist that looks like probably is going to happen this week. So obviously that will be impossible to decide for sure who could do that. It makes me wonder, who have we seen that's been very poor in the challenges? Obviously Marianne. Who else could potentially drop out first? That's the big question I have. Now, as far as voting's concerned, I think that Taku 4, I think, is solid. I know a lot of people are thinking Jonathan is on the potential going home next week, which could possibly happen. It really comes down to Omar. But I wonder if he wants to keep him around as long as possible. I do think that 4 is going to stick together. So that means that Drea, Romeo, and Mike are the ones in danger. And I don't think they're worried about Romeo anymore. So now I'm really worried about Mike and Drea for next week. So we'll just have to see what happens. But right now, I don't know what I might do. I'm probably going to try to pick between one of those two to go home. All right, well, that's it for me. You guys take care. Until next time, this is Jeremiah from Southern California.
Thanks, Jeremiah.
All right, Jeremiah just called out the final 4. Drea, Lindsay, Marianne, and Omar.
Could be. I could see Romeo going down in the challenge, a do or die, and there's no vote out this week.
Exactly. Here, I could see anybody go with that, even Omar. But here's the thing. I don't think Marianne will
risk it.
Yeah, she'll sit out. She's got an idol. She doesn't have to worry about immunity.
Right.
If she feels danger, she plays her idol. No problem. But she knows she's not that good with challenges, and this one is a painful one, and so I don't think she'll risk it.
Yeah.
And I'm
that
not
sneak peek, her toenail falls out, so maybe she'll even shy away from that.
I'm not sure Romeo will risk it, because he's not been good at that either, and he could go out first, and I think he will know that he could go out first.
I'm thinking he's going to feel like he needs to, though. That he's the obvious next choice, especially after High's gone. And he was gunning for him, so you often get rid of the person that was gunning for the last one.
Could be, but I don't know if he will risk it.
It's going to be interesting to see. Thanks, Jeremiah. Next up, we got a call from Jen.
Hi, everyone. This is Jen in California. Since Idols were played last week, Idols came back into the game, and oof, Lindsay was so close, but she missed it. And Marianne, good for you. Way to keep your eyes open. For such a young player, she really does have a beat on the game, and that has resulted in her getting 2 immunity idols so far. So good for her. And the weather, my goodness, I could not believe how much rain that there was. Everyone looked absolutely miserable in the rain during the challenge, and there were lots of pruned hands and feet. I can just imagine how absolutely uncomfortable it would be to have nonstop rain such that you could never feel or get dry. That had to be tough. And I want to talk about Omar for a little bit. Omar is a villain. I do not think that I could ever tell such an egregious lie like the one he told about High saying that Mike was a puppet. Those kinds of lies get found out, and I think he's not being as sly and under the radar as he thinks he is. But time will tell on that one. And I think that Jonathan is such a formidable competitor. I would love to see him go on an epic immunity run. I think it would be exciting. But this was not the challenge for him, though. His feet are so big. This challenge, in the end, favors a female with small feet, and Lindsay pulled it out and got the immunity necklace. And back at camp, it seemed to me that everyone was immediately on board with voting High out, but Omar, he just likes to play with fire, I think. He can never just have a straightforward vote. He seems very distrusting of the process, and every episode it just seems like he just wants to throw a monkey wrench into things. And he says it's strategy, but I'm not sure if it's strategy altogether or whether he just kind of likes to see a little chaos happening. And anyway, when they were floating the idea of getting Jonathan out, I didn't quite believe it because no one seemed to even hesitate or blink an eye when High's name was brought up. And I don't think that Mike would allow High not to be voted out after what he was told. He lost the political battle last time and voted Roxbury out, and he was not going to have it happen twice. So the whole Jonathan red herring thing, I really didn't fall for it. And just like that, High's gone. And what a good sport about it all. I really enjoyed watching him get his torch snuffed. Not so much because I was glad he was leaving, but that was just a class act. I really just loved his spirit in those moments. Yes, it's a game for $1 million and we all want to win, but he seemed to truly appreciate the move, and I enjoyed watching that. Anyway, that's it for me. I can't wait to hear what everyone else has to say. And until next week, bye.
Thanks, Jen.
I think she's right in that Omar just really loves being able to manipulate people.
He likes the chaos more than...
To create all of that
Yeah.
and see it happen. You can get hooked on that kind of, if you feel that powerful. In that you can kind of get hooked on that a little bit, and I think he kind of wants to do that.
Maybe because it did seem unnecessary.
Yeah, it's like everyone's on board. Isn't that what you want with a vote out?
Like Lindsay said, stick to the plan, man.
Yeah.
Next up, we got a call from Paul.
Hey, Paul, Louisiana here, and that rain and the cold, wow, we've seen it before, but some of these people were really suffering. I was feeling sorry for them in a big way, more so than ever before. Now, I have to say that the reward that Lindsay, Mike, and Omar received was a great one. I love the Blade Runner-like images and all of the surrounding decorations, I guess. I wonder, hope actually, if they kept that part of the reward to themselves, because I certainly wouldn't want to hear about missing out on that part of it. And Omar, yes, he hit all of those villain cues pretty hard, but that innocent smile he wears is such an excellent disguise. Even though I was shaking my head thinking that I couldn't believe he was saying that to Mike, I was still saying to myself, "Aw, shucks, he's just playing the game." This guy has got some gameplay in him. And yeah, we saw some paranoia creeping in and around his head, but Omar is poised to win if you ask me. Now, everyone I talk to here keeps saying that Romeo is next to go, but Romeo isn't a problem until you need to depend on him. I just feel that there are too many bigger fish to fry, unless of course the person picked to go wins immunity and there's no one left to vote for. Poor Romeo comes off kind of like a lost stray dog that's fine to have around, but if he disappears tomorrow, it may take a while before you notice. I thought he'd have more game than Marianne, but this dog don't hunt. And just wondering, do you suppose Drea can steal Lindsay's advantage and turn it into another full-fledged idol? Sure, it's probably safer to just steal Mike's, but if Mike somehow leaves the game without Drea realizing that he's going, well, she might miss out on stealing it. But that said, I believe she shouldn't steal anything unless she absolutely needs that advantage right there and then at that particular tribal. Stealing something without immediately using it would just put a target as huge as Jonathan on her back. Me, well, I'm still fine with my USB Lindsay, but as I said, Omar is upping his gameplay big time, and just at the right time. Everyone thinks that he's a nice guy with that smile, but so far, no one has any clue about how hard he's actually begun playing. And we're nearing the end here. There's 2 episodes left before the finale? With the exception of Romeo, I feel that everyone else has been or is contributing to the season in some form. Drea and Omar are my favorites to win, even though, like I said, Lindsay is my USB. This week's another crap shot when it comes to choosing who's next to leave, but let me be perfectly clear here when I say that Jonathan needs to win everything from here on out to make it to the final 3, because I'm positive that he's used his last get to stay in the game card. And that's why I'll most likely pick him to go next. Oh, and I promise not to change the spelling of the names on the roster, even though it's very tempting. Sorry, Stacy. And yeah, there's a big laugh out loud tacked onto that remark. Everyone take care, enjoy the weekend. Bye.
Thanks, Paul.
That is brilliant, Paul. I didn't even think about Drea stealing Lindsay's advantage, and then she'd have an idol anyway.
No, I think she might have 2 steal votes. Because it's only when there's only one left is it an idol.
Yeah, but if she has them both.
She's got them both. She plays them both. Now she steals 2 votes. Now she's 3 votes.
Dang it! Now
out of
you've
7.
brought up something that we don't know the answer to.
No, not for sure. But
But okay, yeah. Well, it would take power away from Lindsay for sure. But it depends on if they really are, kind of working together or not. So I don't think she will. I think she would go for straight up idol.
Whose votes will she steal?
Votes? I don't think she'll steal votes. I think she'll steal an idol.
If she took Lindsay's, whose votes would she steal? Whose votes would she want to control?
I would. Jonathan, probably. Maybe Mike.
I think I'd probably do Omer, because I know it would get his goat the most.
But she's supposed to be working with Omer. She doesn't want to get his goat.
Well, it depends on if they were coming for her. She would do something that intense if she felt they were coming for her.
Sure. Well, if she stole Lindsay's votes and she had 2 steal votes.
Plus her own.
She
3.
Wait.
She would have 4 votes at that point.
She'd have...
if it worked that way. Because she's got her own. She's already has an extra vote. And then she would get 2 stolen votes. So she would be in control of potentially 4 votes.
Wait. She would have 3 basically steal votes because she's got the oh no, she would use that to get Lindsay's 2. So she would have 2 steal votes, 1 extra vote,
and her own vote.
An idol.
And her own vote. She didn't have an idol.
Oh, yeah. That's right. Wow. Okay. That's still a fair amount of power.
Yeah, especially if you get a couple people to come in with you. 4, 5, 6. Then you're in charge of 6 votes.
But I think if she's working with Lindsay, there's no need to. She'd be so much better off for her and Lindsay to each steal somebody's vote, and she could also take somebody's idol. She knows Mike has one, so that's the most. Unless Marianne's told it.
Yeah, unless she gives it up. Yeah, or we see that happen in the course of the next episode.
But to steal an idol, then she could steal a couple other, and she could even play the idol for herself.
Sure.
To be double sure.
Yeah.
So
control the outcome with there's so much power there.
Because like we said, they don't have long to use it. So
right, all her stuff. See, I think all her stuff maybe expires at 6. We'll have to go back and double check on the knowledge is power.
I'm still caught up on
extra
that.
vote and amulet advantage. I'm pretty sure the amulet advantage goes out at 6.
Yes.
I don't remember the extra vote and knowledge is power.
It does go out at 6.
The amulet advantage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think I remember that anyway. But
actually, it won't matter for this next one if do or die comes up and they die, which odds are in the favor of them dying. Deshaun really beat the odds last time.
Yeah, so that I just don't know how to do my vote off with that in mind, because that does.
Who's going to feel like they need to play, and then they're going to blow it? Mm-hmm. Who's going to feel like they need to play and then blow it?
Will Jonathan? Because as far as he knew, it was just High targeting him. So maybe he feels safe.
He knows. No, he knows he's the physical threat, that he's perceived that way, even though Lindsay's obviously, doing much better than he is.
And I don't know that he could win this challenge.
Yeah, it's hard. You're talking about with the on the heels and the hands behind the head thing. And
yeah, I don't think that's going to help him. I don't think his strength is going to help him in this.
So it won't help Lindsay either, huh? Because we were looking at. But she's so small. She's the smallest.
So small.
Well,
and
no,
she's
Romeo's
more
smaller.
Flexible, even though she's got a lot of muscle too.
She is so ripped. Her guns. Oh my goodness! I was looking at her triceps and her shoulders. What's this muscle? The shoulder muscle there. What is that?
Your deltoid.
Her deltoids and her triceps are. Yeah, she's a beast. It was in one of those. What was it? It was in the
extra video.
Yeah. I can't remember if it was the tree mail.
I think.
Is that what it was? She was standing there, or the sneak peeks from the next episode? Anyway,
irrelevant.
I was like, her arms are more defined than Jonathan's are.
And certainly more than yours.
Yeah, absolutely more than mine. She's total beast mode right now. So maybe that won't help her, although being small is going to help. Just less pounds per square inch.
You had muscle envy.
Yes, definitely.
Oh, look at those.
Look at her guns. Well, we want to say a big thank you to everybody who took the time to share their thoughts and predictions this week. We enjoyed it. We appreciate getting to hear from all of you. And we'd also like to give a big thanks to Christy and Erica for your ongoing subscription donations. We appreciate your continued support thank you so much. It goes to helping us run the operational cost for the show.
And if you play in JSFL, don't forget to make your Week 10 picks for one person voted off and 4 people who are safe. Now's when it starts to get a little tricky with those save points.
Yeah, because you can only choose someone to be safe 6 times in the course of the season. It could easily have gotten away from you at this point.
Yeah, I'm close to that I could lose one that way, but I'm trying to manage it.
I think I dodged my last one, so I think I'm good to have everybody safe from here on out. It's just trying to figure out who that should be.
Well, if I think Mike's my only issue, so if he goes home, I'm golden.
Yeah, you're okay.
I'm set then, but he's the big question. If I would have enough, if he lasts the rest of the game, I don't think I'd have enough for him.
If you'd like to join us on these listener feedback shows, you can call and leave a voicemail 206-350-1547, toll free 844-643-8737. You can record your audio and attach it to an email or type it up and we'll read it in for you. The email address joanneandstacyshow@gmail.com. Feedback's due noon Pacific time on Saturdays, and we ask that you keep it in the 3-minute range.
All right. Anything else you wanted to cover?
No.
Well, I wanted to say happy anniversary, baby.
Oh, happy anniversary to you, too. 29 wonderful years.
Yes. Well, 32, but 29 married.
Yes, the married anniversary.
Yes, it's been a lovely day so far.
Uh-huh. All right, we'll be back on Wednesday. Have a good one.